I'll come on in.
It says we're live. Wait a minute. How did Mrs. Positivity just do that? Like the minute we went live, she had the brick background. What you doing over there?
Playing with stuff.
Okay.
And now it's acting up. Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday. We are here. Before
April 1st, we're going into the second quarter. Like, listen, wow.
It is. Did you guys know that on this day in 1976, the year that I was born, Apple became a thing?
Really? 76. Wow.
No lie. I'm like, what? It's crazy because it's April Fool's Day, right? So the significance, they were just going down the list of how the day is like, historically where that came from. But then when I saw that, and I was like, wow, 45 years ago, wow, interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's lighten that up. Like Mrs. Positivity said, happy Friday. I just want to start off by thanking Mrs. Royston for being here because this is a woman on the move. Like I tried to convey it in all of the captioning for this episode. Like this lady, I honestly think between me and Ash, like we do the most, but I don't know. I think Mrs. Royston got us beat. Ash.
I try not. I really do. I try not. I really don't. But, while the window is open, while the opportunity is upon me, I just do it. I go
totally.
Yeah, I do. I'm just in.
And that's purpose work for sure. And we're going to dig into it. I just wanted to thank everybody for being here. I do want to tell those who may be watching a little bit later, we're going to dig into it. But because Mrs. Royston is busy and she is a woman of opportunity and on the move, living in purpose, we are only going to be talking with her. We have the honor and the fortune only for a half an hour this evening. So we want her to be safe. We want to get her to get to her destination safe. And just wanted to disclaim that. So I'm going to let my illustrious co-hostess with the mostest, who had a brick backyard, but now it's just
I mean the brick wasn't working. So.
It wasn't working.
I'll try it again later, but
okay.
Yes, hi. So we're in another month, y'all, second quarter, and I am super, super excited that we have Miss Julia on the line. And it's April 1st, so everybody's been doing all this April Fool stuff. Listen, I don't fall into all of that. Don't be joking with me. I don't want to play these games with y'all.
No, we don't play all the time, do we? No, we ain't playing all the time.
Right.
No, we don't play all the time.
I agree.
No. And so, like, our show fact that you just said, so you think you want to be that. Yeah. Like, we are that. And we don't play no games with that. Okay?
For real. You came out the gate.
Thank everybody for continuing to support and tune in. This is where we really, really have the real deal Holyfield conversations about the importance, one, of advancing literacy skills in our next generation, in our families, and just in our empires and our legacy in general, the lack that we see in the communities that we live in, and how we navigate through the challenges as whatever it is that we are. And, many people freely say, I want to do this, I want to be that, but do you really know what that entails? And I hope when you tune into So You Think You Want to Be That with me and Miss Tiffany, we give you the real deal, and we tell you, there's ups and downs, goods and bads, there's challenges and accreditations that you might need, and there's achievements that you might have to achieve, and there's different approaches that you can take. And I hope you learn those different things, not to steer you away from doing it, but to motivate you to do the work. And that's pretty much what I wanted to cue in on talking to Miss Julia, because she does the work. She is on the road. She is traveling. She has an amazing team, and I would definitely hope she mentions the Mister. I got to meet them in North Carolina, And just to have somebody there with you, supporting you on that journey makes a difference as well. And so, Julia, go ahead and give us a little introduction about you and your company.
Well, I'm first off, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for accommodating me. I have a slight conflict in schedule, but I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. So I'm Dr. Julia Royston. I own BK Royston Publishing, Royal Media and Publishing, and the coaching community, the Book Business Bosses, where we help you get your message to the masses and turn your words into wealth and be a book business boss. So I've been in business now 14 years. Yay!
Woo!
I have published 350 books.
My
I
goodness.
have written 68, and I have published more than 250 authors. I say that because I just signed new contracts in the last 2 days. So, and talked to a new author today. So, we just move along as we go. Yes, I do want to mention my husband, Brian Royston. We are both goal oriented. We are both um, people who are on a mission. And fortunately, we are in it together to move in the same direction. So that makes a difference. I mean, we've had plans to retire, and I retired the year before he did. He retired 3 years ago. I will be retired 4 years in June. So we had goals and aspirations and things that we wanted to do. And I have to confess, when I first started, he's a 9 to 5 guy. I am a both. I have been 9 to 5 and entrepreneur. I grew up in a family that had both. So my dad was a teacher in the day, and then we had a cleaning service at night. We had as many as 50 employees at one time.
Wow.
So I know what it's like to run big business in the evenings after your regular job that pays the taxes and pays the insurance and all that good stuff. So uh, so I know all about that. So that's what that looks like. And it took some convincing. It took some time to grow that thing. And he was like, "Okay, good. You have a job, but you're investing what in this business? You're gonna do what with that money? You're gonna do what?" And so it took a few years, but we're there. We're at that point where, oh, he can see the results. We're at that point that we can see what it will do and the results it will give. So I first off encourage anybody who's in the grind, who's still working a 9 to 5 job. Don't be shamed. Don't quit that job if you can't have you can't do it. If it pays your bills and your business is not able to do that yet, keep working. Do them both. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's not fun at times, but you can do it. Don't let anybody make you quit your job beforehand until your business is able to sustain you and stabilize you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But it will take time. It will take courage. It will take work. And when it does happen and the business can sustain your lifestyle, great. But until then, keep working, keep moving, keep investing in yourself and your business.
Key. Keep investing in yourself, in your business. And she said some key points, about sometimes you have that dual citizenship between your 9 to 5 job and your entrepreneurship goals. And like she said, the proper planning can get you to the point where you want to be. If entrepreneurship full time is where you want to be, but you definitely need to plan to get there. And your upbringing, she talked about, being exposed to it when she was younger by having a family with multiple types of companies, an entrepreneurship company, and then knowing what a 9 to 5 job looks like. And so having that experience kind of helps you. I know I dove into my different career paths by getting a job in the field that I wanted to work at. And so I may have worked maybe a year or two in those fields, and then one, like I continuously work on the outside of me being a full-time entrepreneur now. But it kind of still, attaches to your goals. And so you definitely want to have that. And I often hear, they need that security. People don't want to jump into the entrepreneurship world because the security is not there, because it's all on you. It's all on your business to make it successful for you to be able to sustain your living. And so definitely, like she said, get into a position where that is already a sustainable position for you to even let go of that security income from a company paying you or a job paying you. So that is key. Tell us what you've learned when people approach you about publishing. Like, what is the mindsets, and what is like the mood when people are approaching you about publishing books, their concerns?
Well, when I first started, I was just honored that somebody would do it. And I have to admit, the first year I said no until a friend of mine said she was going to pay me. So I think some people were wanting me to do it for free. So
Talk about that.
I wasn't even, I wasn't even thinking along those lines. I only did it. I'm as they say, I'm kind of the Tyler Perry. I just wanted my own publishing company to cover and secure my own rights and have rights to. I just wasn't gonna do the traditional route. I don't have it in me. I don't even know if I don't know. So I really having my own, being my own, as they say, good, bad, win, or just lose it all. I wanted it to be on my mind, my dime, my time, my decisions. I didn't want my life in somebody else's hands. So back then, when I first started, it was all about, oh, wow, I'm just honored that you're thinking about me. Oh my gosh, got to make sure that the client is satisfied. And oh my goodness, I'm just starting. Oh my God. So you have a lot of uh, quandary about, am I good enough? Can I do it? Now, 14 years in the game, you're interviewing me, but I'm interviewing you. I
Right.
want to know where your mindset is about your book. How serious are you? Are you just writing it because somebody told you couldn't? Are you writing it because you have a message that you want to get to the masses? Is my tag. It's a real place. Are you serious about your book, or you just want to prove to the lady down the street that you could do it? Are you passionate about it? Is this a part of something you do, something you're connected to? So the climate is totally different. After you've written 68 books, it's very difficult to run up on something that's a little bit different. I meet new people and I see new books all the time, but after 68 of my own writing, I'm pretty, like good, like where are you and what do you want to do? So the feeling is totally different in that, I have to understand, because even though the author's name is on the front, my logo is still on the back.
Right.
So it still represents my brand, who I am. And, the covers I'm very stickler about, just a lot of things that I do differently now. And I'm not like a vanity press. Just because you offer me money, I will not publish everything.
Right.
So I have told people no, and I don't think this is a real good match for us. And even when I've tried to bend a little bit, it still doesn't work out. And me and the author may be friends for years, but we realize we're just not a good fit, and that doesn't work. And that's not, that's just a good thing to realize that early. And some people, I don't realize that until much later. So it's
Mm.
really a family and a relationship, I don't have my pricing on my site. So people ask me that all the time. Oh, where's your price? I said, no, each book that I publish is like a child. It's individual. I don't have like just blanket. I have a price in my mind when I see your manuscript, but then I also provide you a privacy statement that says I'm not going to do anything with your manuscript because I need to see it. Because some people have said it's 50 pages and it's 100. And, and some people, because the font was so small, they were trying to squeeze a lot of. That's when I was younger and new in this game and was charging you based on page count. And then I realized you're submitting something to me that's, 10-point font. And then I had to go to word count. And then, now I can just look at it and tell.
Right.
But, you have to evolve over time. You have to change over time. My contract, that first contract, and what my current one looks like, baby,
Yeah.
it's totally different.
Yeah.
It's totally different what that looks like, because people will try you. They will
Yeah.
test you. And then you have to learn some expensive, I hope you don't, but yeah, I've learned some expensive mistakes, and I trusted people, and then they didn't deliver. So then I have to have stipulations. I don't like it that my contract went from 3 pages to 5, but I didn't have no choice. I had to protect myself, my brand, my husband, my family. everything. So that's kind of a different feel. It is business. It is for profit. And I do have a small, medium, and large space for you to be in. So if you're not able to have the full package, I do offer online self-study, self-starting courses. I offer books related to writing, publishing, promotion. You go to my stores. I have all of that there. So there is a price point for you to get in and a space for you to have resources and tools for what you need. But yeah, it's a relationship rather than it is a business, but it's also a relationship too, because you can't put your business associated with everybody at every brand.
Exactly.
I mean, I wish you could, but I just want to, I hear people all the time, oh, it's to the world. No, baby, it's not. It maybe go out to the world, but everybody's not going to necessarily receive it. There is an audience for you. There is an audience for your book, for your business, for your brand. It's not all 9 billion people on the planet.
It is not.
It's
exactly.
Not.
And sometimes we have to bust those bubbles, in the authorship world and in the publishing world. And so I'm thankful that you have those real conversations with those clients, because I feel like if I don't tell them up front, I always tell them up front, and then I give them my list of individuals that they can communicate with. Sit down and talk to these people, because if you don't hear it from me, or you don't receive it from me, and you hear it from 3 other publishers in a different capacity, one of those will be a good fit for you, or you're just not really interested in publishing a book, or you did not really understand what it all meant, or what it was going to cost you, or what it was going to involve from you. And that's okay.
Because some of it is not just the money. Some of it, people just they don't want to do any work. They want, the publisher to do it all. They want Amazon to promote for them. I was like, baby, Amazon's not doing that.
Right?
That's a multi-billion-dollar company, baby. They not, there are millions of books on their site, literally millions. And if it's going to stand out and do what you have in your mind, you got to put in the work. I got to put in the work for my 68. You got to put in the work for yours. 1 or 168. How many ever you write, you got to put in the work for yours. You got to be on your hustle and grind and go live and show up at events, virtually or in person. You got to sacrifice to stay up early or get up, stay up late, or whatever that looks like. It's a grind. It's a work, but it's well worth it for me because I'm passionate about it. But you have to decide, is that something? Because I've had people saying, no, it's really not for me. And it's not about I'm as good as, because I've had people, I can do it, she can do it, I can do it. Yeah, I got that. But some people don't have the grace for it.
Right.
You got to make sure that you have the grace. You have not only because you can learn it, I can teach it to you.
Right.
I can train you, I can coach you, I can teach you. But you got to make sure that you have the character, the integrity, the grace for this. Because a lot of these are people's hopes and dreams that I'm involved in. I mean, yeah, it's a business. Yeah, it's a contract. Yeah, it's a fee. Yeah, it's a book. But some people, I'm not. Even though I have 2 masters in library science, I have been in books and libraries for years, 30 years, retired a librarian teacher. So books have just been a part of my life since before I could read. My mother read to us every night. But today, there are people who have dreamed of publishing a book. So you've got somebody's hopes and dreams in your hands, literally. Right. So you got to take it seriously. Right. And you got to be informed, educate, and invest in that education.
Especially invest in that education. I get horror stories and horror calls all the time about somebody spending tens and thousands of dollars on a publishing company. They don't have a book. They don't have a manuscript. They don't have a sketch. They don't have anything.
They didn't get their final documents. They want to republish. I just got off the phone with the lady. And when I see people with my area code locally, I look and go, they probably been sharing my phone number, so I'm good. And when I answered the phone, it was an older lady. So I could tell she was in years. She was up in years. So that when I hear their voice, I don't know how old she is, but just hearing her voice, it got me. I was like, oh Lord, it's one of these calls where They won't return her call. They won't call her back. They
Right.
won't answer, respond to her email. They promised this. They didn't deliver. They didn't. Oh, and it just. And I'm like, if you do this, and somehow they just decided on their own they were going to change the font size. She said, I can't see my own book. I can't see the words on my. Well, that gets me. And now she wants the font size back to where it was, and they won't call her back. They won't even respond. They won't even tell her how much it would be to reformat it. And I'm like,
Wow. Yeah, that's the tragedy stories that I see all the time, which is why I always like to vet a good publishing company, and that's why I have you on my list. Because I want people to talk to people that's really going to produce what it is that they say they want, whether they go through with it or not. I know my team can do the work, and I know we will do the work. And I hope everybody understands that like we said in the beginning, it does require sacrifice. It requires you to take time. It requires you to go out there. It requires you to put yourself out there, because not only is Miss Julia talking about published book that she's published, so she has to sell her own books, but she also assists others in producing their own books and then helping them sell as well. I mean, there's like a whole world, but the beauty is that when you're book lovers like we are, we know the field and we're going to go out there. But I often get authors who are like, they don't want to speak, they don't want to even be up
nope,
front. What about the
nope.
customer that wants to talk to you? What
I
about
know. I don't know how that is. How do they walk? How do they walk up to your table and you don't say hi? You on your phone looking down and you don't even look up to say, "Well, how you doing?" Well, how? Well, I like that shirt. I like your shoes. Hey, baby, how are you? You trying to sell children's books and you can't connect with a child? You got a problem.
right?
You got a problem on your hands.
And so
Yeah.
that's why you really, really need to surround yourself by the people who are doing it. And so for me, that's the part that I always like. I like to build that confidence. I always tell my authors, if you can't do a book signing by yourself, come join me, and I will be there the whole time with you, and I will speak to them, and then you will learn it. And I'm telling you, by the end of the day, by the end of the book signing, they're saying the same verbiage that I gave however
Yeah.
many times, and then they're replicating it. They're putting their own spin to it. They're adding their own character. So sometimes you got to be that example. And so I love how you are being that example for those that are looking to be in the field, because you don't know what you're walking into when you first get into
No,
it.
you don't. No, you don't have a clue. And there are some events where I do alone. It's just my husband and I. But then there are bigger events, especially when you're getting into the thousands of people that you're,
Mhm.
tens and twenties of the Indiana Black Expos of the world and the Black Women Expos of the world. Those are like, there could be 30, 40,000 people rolling through in any given day. And you're going to need other hands on deck. And so being able to impart into other authors and show them how it's done and having them come on board and let them understand, okay, this booth is $1,000. If there's 10 of us, we all have to only pay $100 a spot. And then we team where we help sell each other's books. If somebody got children's books and they're looking for children's books, then you help them sell, and then we'll help you sell if you have a memoir. I mean, that whole teamwork makes the dream work, because there's got to be somebody at the table when you just need to go to the bathroom. I mean,
Right.
it's always that part that you have to definitely understand and know how that works. And sometimes you need to bring people along, those that are serious. Now, if you're not serious, it's a whole nother thing, and everybody's on a different level. And then you've got people who, I publish people all throughout the US as well as overseas. In Germany, London, I have and Africa, I have authors in other places. So therefore, they don't have the benefits of being able to just pack up and come wherever I am to an event. So the ones that are local that can get access, we rolling. We rolling on the road.
Yes.
That's what we doing.
That is
That's how
amazing.
I got to see you guys. In
Right.
Charlotte, we just like, no, you're here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hey, that's the
Yeah.
way it happens.
And I'm super excited because you'll be publishing one of my classmates' books. She said her book is publishing soon. And so, like, it's just great that I can bring the opportunity to
Yay!
people from my past, from my present, from now. Like, it can follow you all the way. So can you explain one experience where you have seen a young reader come up to your table That's like the most beautiful thing that I've seen.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Okay. So, right now, if you're not aware in the literacy world, especially since summer of 2020, okay, with the George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and as a matter of fact, I live across the bridge from Louisville. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky, but I live in Jeffersonville, Indiana, across the bridge. So therefore, there has been a huge push for African American children's books. And there is nothing like seeing a brown black baby walk up to your table and point at a book. Or I've had little ones who they was in a stroller and they just pulled it off the table and the mom was like, how much is it? Because she ain't letting it go. And if she does, she gonna be screaming and hollering. We ain't gonna be able to get nothing done. I said, baby, this is how much it is, and we roll on. But there is nothing like it. Because when I was a child, oh my God, Dick, Jane, and Spot. I didn't care that Jane was white with blonde hair and Dick was white with brown hair and Spot was a little white dog running through. It didn't matter to me. But today it does matter. Right. Today we have to have a more chocolate baby. Then I've got to have something for a biracial baby. Then I've got to have something for a light. Because Black people, we come in all shades and sizes and shapes and sizes. I got to have a heavy baby. Then I got to have Asian baby. I got to have something for everybody. I got to have something that appeals to all children, because what ends up happening is that you're stating that I'm not worth it. I'm not worth you taking the time out to have Afro puffs and then on another book have long ponytails with baubles and bows. I'm not worth that, taking that time. So let me give you a statistic. And I know I may go longer than the 30 minutes, but I'm good. So statistically, the children's book market, in 2020, we're up to almost 12% of the market with African-American main characters. Wow. Animals, it's 26%.
Wow.
Okay. So 26% of the books, children's books, have an animal as the main character. Okay. More than 50%, 50 to 55, 60% have white main characters.
Now, let me ask you, Miss Julia, is this mainstream or is this indie?
This is everybody.
Okay.
This is everybody right now. This is everybody. Because indie, you can't even count right now. Because a lot of them, unless it's Amazon, these are actually the percentage of mainstream published. Okay. Indie, it probably would be close to 20% or maybe even higher. But mainstream, those are the only numbers we collect. Just like we only collect African American authors, but we don't say, is it a woman or is it a man? They don't divide it out. I'm about ready to do my own statistics in a minute. It just because I can't get the numbers I really, really want. But these numbers is bad enough that I, it is a child book institute that is relatively independent, but the numbers have come from 7 to almost 12 in the last 5 to 7 years. So that's pretty high considering.
Right.
But I think it's higher. I think there is a faith-based children's group that is not even counted, because it does have references to God and faith-based, and the public schools will never see them because they are faith-based.
Right.
But my original point is that when a child sees themselves in a book, they're more likely to pick up the book and want to read it. So that's the reason why the Black Child Book Fair tour that I'm on right now is so important. I was there with Daryl Harvey. Hopefully you met him in Charlotte when we were there. But that is one of the main reasons, because I've seen, children just throw the book back at the teacher's face. Mm-hmm. And of course, when you're in kindergarten and first grade and you're already turned off with just learning your letters and words, oh my Lord, you got a long haul to go. So even though that third grade reading scores with prisons, they say it all over the internet. That's a myth. That's not true. They're not stopping building them. I mean, it may be a myth, but the last statistics I saw, most of the men that are incarcerated cannot read past the 4th grade level. So what's that tell you? I'm like, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. So
Right.
you may not use third grade scores, but the people that are in there, the majority, not all, but the majority cannot read past the fourth grade uh, uh, level. So therefore, what's that tell you? Right.
Right.
So I'm like, you may not use that, but you're building them more and more and more. You're building them.
Right.
So therefore, I got to go back to the 3-year-old, 4-year-old class. I got to go get them some books that look like them. There's a little girl with the Afro puffs. There's a little girl with the curls. There's a little girl with the freckles, and she's biracial. There's the little girl with the balls going everywhere. I gotta have them. So I got the one ponytail up in your head. I got the three to the side. I gotta have all of it because that's the way
Right.
mom and them and big mom and them did our hair. So they got to be able to walk by my
Right.
table and look at it and say, or the little
Yeah.
boy, So yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm putting my energies. Besides publishing other people, I got to write for the babies. The next generation is screaming and calling. And if I don't, there's somebody else who will not pick up a book or even an ebook to want to read words on a page. And it's
Exactly.
critical for the next generation. It's critical for the jobs they're going to have, the positions they're going to have, the advantages they're going to have is to be able to read on a higher level.
Exactly. You got to read
That's it.
contracts. You got to read statements. You
Oh
have
my
to
Lord. Oh
read.
my Lord.
You have to
Yes.
read reviews. You have
Oh
to
my Lord.
read everything that comes through in most of these mainstream large companies. Like there's a review. There's pages of review that you have to, especially magazines. I mean, there's so many different articles that you have to review. There's research, and so that's why it's important for them to learn and have a habit of picking up these books. But yes, you said the key thing that I was looking for when I asked that question. We have to have culturally diverse books, especially as a publishing company. That is
Yes.
why I started Words Unite Bookstore, because me as an individual, I could only reach one audience with my book.
Yeah.
Like you said, people don't realize, they're like, my book is for everyone. No, it's not. You're
Nope.
only gonna connect with one audience. One audience going to connect with you. But when I brought the cultural diversity from all the authors that are in collaboration with the bookstore, then we're able to reach many, many, many different
Yeah.
types of
Exactly.
people. You never know what they're looking for. I had the lady come Saturday, and she was a redhead, white German lady, but she had a mixed baby, and she don't know how to. And
Mhm.
she's 15, and she's trying to teach her how to be a black woman, but she can't. You know what I'm
No.
saying? And because at the end of the day, the public, the community sees her as a black girl.
Yep.
And so that's the bottom line for her. And so how does she raise her when she said she was only four out of the whole school? She goes to a private school. She's four. There's only four black girls in that school. And so I mean, there's different things that families are facing that they're still trying to train their kids about, young and old. And so having cultural diverse aspects to it are really, really great. So again, thank y'all for really, really listening in. Miss Julia, give them more information about how they can reach you. I'm telling y'all, I send people to Miss Julia. I can't take everyone, and I know Miss Julia feels the same way. If she can't take everyone, she says no, or she'll let you know that you might need to go a different avenue. But I'm telling you, if you want an approach, I would get a consultation with Julia for sure.
Well, the best way to get on my calendar, and remember it's Eastern time zone, so wherever you are, but it's talkwithroyston.com. That is my calendar. So take a look, see if I have open space, let me know. If not, email me at bkroystonpublishing@gmail.com, and I will see where we can work that out, especially if we have calendar differences and time zone differences. I'm an early riser, so I'm usually up between 4 and 6 a.m. So and I have done that for clients who said, I really need to talk to you, but I work at these hours, and those hours is usually when Miss Julia sleep. Because I'm an 8 p.m. girl. So, but we can make that work itself out, and we can make those arrangements. But I would love to have a conversation in regards to your idea. I'm usually the idea to Amazon girl. That's where I go. So it doesn't matter, where you are in the process. And even those of you who have already published, I do want to put an all call out to people who are thinking about self-publishing. You're like, I don't have the money for this. If you just give me one session, I'm not going to convince you to publish with me, but I'm going to help you think differently than you did before. Because that's another thing besides the older ladies who get in contracts and they didn't understand it. The other thing is the people who self-publish and it looks good to them, but he doesn't realize that it's not culturally sound. It's not industry looking standards.
Right.
It doesn't look, and you just need little tweaks. You just need, little refinements. And, we can do one session at $97 and I can help you, get that and advice and whatever. Because I understand people want to self-publish. I have no problem with that. But I hate when I see people have paid hundreds and thousands of dollars to have people edit, to have people format, to have people do illustrations, especially children's books. And I'm like, I had a lady come to me and a sidebar, but she came to me and she said, I don't know. I haven't sold one book. Wow. And I said, well, love. She said, I have not sold anything. And the illustrations were so cute. Oh, they were adorable. But she had the child with a dog doing something that's not culturally what we do.
Oh.
I'm like, sweetie, we don't do that. Black people do not do that. That's not what Black people do. And she was Black. I said, you may, but as a people and societally, we don't do that.
Right.
She said, well, I haven't sold. I said, I know why you haven't sold any. It's not that the illustrations are not beautiful. The story is kind of cute, but what you have the dog and the girl doing, we don't do that.
Gotcha.
Dogs don't just lick us like that. No. No. That's not what we do as a people. So we had to tweak some things and redo some things because, it's not what she thought was great. But see, when you don't know the industry, when you don't know what people will buy, when you don't travel, you won't know. You think, oh, this is wonderful. This is good enough. And I'll be like, no, it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not, love. So let me help you.
You have to know the industry. Yes. Yes. You have to know the industry. I tell people that all the time. If you don't know, like we see the customers that come and will pick up your book and put it down, or they'll give you those comments about the book. So yeah, you gotta get somebody to give you that industry expertise. Yeah. So thank you so much for giving us those tips and tools. I'm telling y'all, literacy is power. Like this is the knowledge that you need to grow into not just reading and advancement, just for you to be more proficient in you doing the things that you aspire to do. This is where you start at.
So this is the last thing I'm going to say. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Do you realize that I lost 3 clients during COVID? They passed away.
Oh, no.
And so, yeah, they all 3 of them mysteriously had cancer, but I don't know if it was a COVID ignited. I don't know what happened, but I lost 3 clients. And when I went to my attorneys to say, okay, what do we do? What do I need to do? What's my obligation? What do I do? And, you now have your own. So I had one under my first contract. And so I had to see about what to do with the royalties. And then I had another one that were on different contracts. And so the attorneys, basically, they were reminding me, always remind your clients that they need to say in their will how to log in, how to access, who to call, is something in the event that something happens to them. Because remember, books are evergreen. That's intellectual property, just like a patent, just like anything else, because that's literally money. As long as you have inventory, you can, if it's a high quality book, it's like Dr. Seuss's estate. It still goes on and he been gone.
Right.
So it's like your estate can continue. So the 68 books I have no biological children. I have nieces. So they now know what to do with my book, know what to do with the royalties, know what to do with the company, know what to do with all of that. Because, we've learned in the COVID space, you don't have to be old to die, baby. You don't have to be old to die. So what do we do with that? You can keep it and you can be making royalties from Amazon for a long time because books are evergreen. So I want to remind people of that, you have to look at it just like who's going to get my car, who's going to get my house, who's going to get my ring, who's going to get, and what happens to my books.
Right. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. That is important.
You're
That is
welcome. You're
very
welcome. You're welcome.
important.
You're welcome. It's the same thing. And I had to learn that, especially within the last 18 months to 2 years. Like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Something else that had to go in the contract, something else that had to go as a reminder, an onboarding document, because, we're in a different time. Everything's changed. Everything is, switched and pivoting and all of that. And so business has changed too as well. So really looking at that as an evergreen situation. No matter how you publish, it is yours. And it lives on even after you're gone.
Yep, that is true. That is true. I have mine in a trust as well with the company, but yes, people forget about that aspect, and you don't think about it as a publishing company when they pass away. What is your attachment to it? So yes, thank you for
Yeah, yeah,
sharing
yeah, yeah. Yeah, estate planning is really key. So everybody, because people are everywhere. So in your whatever state that you're in, make sure when you're doing your estate planning, when your attorney is looking at your will and all of that, because I can't cover all 50 states and around the world because everybody's different. But when you're looking at that, when you're setting that out, make sure they remind them, oh, by the way, I published a book too. Oh, by the way, I have these books that are on Amazon, and here's the login and all of that. So make sure you bring that up and add that to your list when you're meeting with your attorney or estate planner.
that. Awesome. Well,
You're
thank you so
welcome.
much.
Thank
Tiffany, you
you.
got any last things besides you already know what I'm going to say? You got to do it. You got to show up. You have to do it. Remember,
Yeah,
it's a matter of action.
It
it
is.
really
It really
is.
is. It really is. And it's the action plan and making sure that it is something, whatever you're writing, whatever you're connected to, whatever the business is, make sure that you're passionate about it. Make sure that you're going to learn as much as possible, go all out for your business and all of that, for your life, really. Live your best life, go all out for your life and learn as much as you can and live that passionate person, purpose filled life as much as you can, so that when you die, when you stand before God, you be like, I gave him all, I left it all on the table, I left it all, I did it, everything you gave me, your gifts, talents, and ability, use them all. Don't waste any time, don't waste anything.
Love it. I absolutely love it. I do wish we had more time, and that's just
I know, but I'll be back again. Just invite
you.
me back again, and we'll
I hope
we'll talk
so.
some more about even some other things that you all have in mind. Literacy is important and is really critical for not only our environment and society today, but for the next generation. So you be
Absolutely.
blessed. I love you both, and you take care.
We love you
And
too.
blessings to you always.
Yes,
Bye bye.
indeed. You guys be safe. Take care.
Later.
Bye,
Bye bye.
everybody.